Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Matt Geiger, and today we're going to be talking about the fraud in Minnesota. We're going to talk about the Georgia elections fraud exposed and the financial collapse and how the 2026 is the year of fraud. Now, just before we begin, I just want to say that because we're on YouTube, and we want to stay on YouTube to use the Matrix tools to wake up as many people as possible. We want to make sure we stay on there, and we just want to put a disclaimer out there to say that. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're not making any claims. We're just exploring our opinions and stories and what's going on, just with our opinions, really. And we urge you to do your own research always. We are not making any claims. But yeah, thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to?
Thanks for having me. Good to be with you. Hey, Christmas, everybody, Merry Christmas. We had a great time. It's getting pretty chilly here in Arizona, but we're ready for the new year. And like you said, 2026, man, it's going to be the year of massive fraud exposure, and we're already seeing it.
That's good. Why do you say that? Because I think absolutely. From my research and then from doing channeling information from the channelers that I trust, when I put it all together, it tells me that the middle of 2026 is going to be a very we're going to see a very big timeline split. We're going to see a lot of things change. A lot of things are going to be exposed. Politics is going to feel like background noise, and things are just going to look really scripted, really fake. People.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh, totally. And I think the way you broke that down, where it's going to be looking scripted and fake, that's exactly what it's going to be. And, we were going to talk about this fraud in Minnesota with this, group of Somalis. What I do with these issues is I kind of take the issue and then extrapolate on, okay, well, if they're going to commit this fraud, that means they have complicity with their local government. They have complicity in the federal government because somebody in the federal government's writing the checks. And they have complicity with the banks. The banks are seeing this stuff. What banks was this money being run through? Why didn't they see this fraud? They had to know about it. So it tells you everybody's in on this scam, right? It's what George Carlin used to say. It's a club and you ain't in it. These people are just literally just taking advantage of the system. There's what is it, $18 billion now that they found in Minnesota? It's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars by the time they're done. They're finding cases in Minnesota. My guess is they're going to find places in places like New York, Chicago, right? All these little pockets of where these people live. And it's not just the Somali people. It's probably a lot of groups of people that are doing these exact same types of scams all over the place. I mean, look what Doge found with what was that called? Remember Doge found with the fund, trying to think of the name. Anyway, it was the tip of the iceberg. So I think
was it the daycare thing?
Well, the daycare thing is a Somali fraud. That's what they've been doing. The daycare.
Can you explain that? What is that? What have they been doing?
So I think. Well, first off, we've known about this fraud clearly for a long time, and it was a kid by the name of Nick Shirley, who's a really good citizen journalist. He does a fabulous job. This kid. He's 22 years old. He gets on the ground. He goes into danger. He's in Portland, Oregon. Getting beat up by Antifa, maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago. He actually got invited to the White House, and he was sitting there at a round table with Trump, Cara Castronova from the Gateway Pundit, a lot of, really good, solid reporters. They should have a Nick Veniamin there. Trump should have invited you. But I think what Trump did, if I had to get, I'm just speculating here, but I think Trump handed him the story. He said, go up to Minnesota and go look at these places. So he did. He did a 42-minute video on YouTube. You can go to Nick Shirley's channel, watch that. And he goes to these different healthcare centers, daycare centers. He tries to enroll his little son, his fictitious son, Joey, into the daycare. And these people just come to the door. They hardly ever even come to the door. It's during business hours. There's no kids there. They spelled Learning Center on one of the signs. They spelled it Leering Center. They left out the N in learning. So he uncovered in one day, he covered about $110 million of potential fraud. And that was just one little area, one day he just canvassed the area, and that's how much he found. He ran into this guy. I forget the guy's name in the video, Dave or something. And they just blew this whole thing wide open. So we're seeing that Governor Tim Walz, he knew about this fraud. There was 400 whistleblowers in Minnesota that knew about this fraud, and we're telling him, they're saying, hey, Governor Walz, We see that there's this massive fraud. And he actually, these whistleblowers, he threatened them to keep their mouths shut. So we know Walz is complicit. We know that, what's her name? Ilhan Omar, we know she's complicit. So these guys are running a racket and they're raking in billions of dollars. And what it tells me really is, then I think of, I remember maybe a year or two, I saw a story about Stacey Abrams down in Georgia. She was the one, she's sitting on a $2 billion fund from campaign contributions or whatever. These politicians are not, forget their stock. We talk about Nancy Pelosi's amazing stock trades. Forget even that stuff. That's a drop in the bucket. Mm-hmm. These politicians are raking in billions of dollars behind the scenes, and I guess they're laundering it somehow to, I don't know, foreign accounts. I don't know how that stuff works, but maybe a Cayman Islands account where all their money's sitting. So these politicians, I think it's going to be revealed that they're all up to their ears in fraud, but they're all sitting on billions of dollars, and that's their payoff. That's why they go out there and they act. They put on a suit and tie, and they put on a really good act for you. They're just actors, central casting, right? So I think this is just going to continue to get worse. And my fear is that the more this stuff gets exposed, the more the banking system gets exposed. Right. So that's where you have to start worrying about, okay, people are going to start losing confidence in their monetary system. They're going to lose confidence in the markets. Right. And this should bode very well. The more exposure, as I always tell people, and I've said this for years, the more exposure of this stuff means the better for gold and silver prices.
Absolutely. Yes. So silver, I remember 5 years ago, we were pushing silver and it was like $25, $30.
Yeah.
And now it's like, just the other day, it was like $83 per ounce. This is silver. Nobody would ever imagine that silver would go to $83. And I think it's going to go past 100 very, very quickly. However, yesterday, when I looked last time, it went back down to $72, but that's still very good. And I think the reason why that happened is because I heard, and I don't know if this is a rumor or if this is true or not, but that a Warren Buffett billionaire, I don't know if it's Warren Buffett, but Warren Buffett has a reputation of doing this. He bails out banks that are about to go bankrupt. And I believe from my sources that it was Bank of America that was about to collapse and that it was bailed out for $35 billion, which was a very, very big discount. However, yes, I think that this isn't unsustainable. It's just a matter of time. And I think we're going to see a very big reset in the year of 2026, not to mention that the whole system is being run illegally as well. So forget bailing out and them not being able to fulfill, their debts and stuff like that. But I think it's all a fraud. And when that gets exposed, nobody will even be able to bail them out because it's null and void. What do you think about that?
I think it's a brilliant point you make. And I think, I've been looking for stuff like that. As a matter of fact, before the show, we were looking for that Bank of America story, and I typed it into Google. We got the Google AI saying, "Oh, is there acquisition of such and such company or whatever?" I think you might be right, Nick, because the three big silver riggers are J.P. Morgan, right, Citibank, and Bank of America. So maybe because Bank of America had such exposure in the short positions on silver, maybe this major uptick in a couple months, going from 30s into the 70s, even into the 80s. Maybe that's what really took down Bank of America. Not to mention they're probably sitting on a lot of other toxic assets, derivatives, you name it. Yeah. And maybe this was the bank killer, and they're just keeping it under wraps. No one's going to report it, because if you reported that Bank of America went down, what are people going to do? They're going to start questioning their own bank.
They don't exactly. This is the thing. It's a very big secret. The last thing they want to do is let anybody know that the banks are about to collapse. It's it's a top secret. Nobody wants to, because no one will trust the banks. The banks is the head of the snake.
It's the head of the snake. It's how all the money gets funneled through to, whether it be the Somalis or the politicians, whatever. And take this, Alex Jones it was November of 2023, I believe. It was either 22 or 20. It's 23. Alex Jones, no, it's 22. Alex Jones came out with, I don't know where he got this video. You could probably find it, just because he located, so it's probably somewhere with him. But it was like the kind of the meeting you think of, like the bankers in like a dark, smoky room. It was the board of the FDIC, right? The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. They bail out banks. No, they're not supposed to bail out the whole banking system, but they say these are the board members. They're on video saying, "Hey, we got to cover up the market signals that the banks are failing. We have to make sure that this information doesn't get out to the public." And they're saying this literally on video in their little smoky meeting room, dark meeting room. And what have we seen since then? We saw a string of banks. There's banks out in California, up north. I'm trying to think of the names of them. But we've seen, I think, somewhere between 100 and 200 banks since then. Smaller banks start to collapse. Now we're seeing, and this is what I've been saying, it's going to be the smaller banks at the bottom and then the big guys at the top. And they're just going to collapse this way. They're going to collapse right into the middle. And then, of course, problem, reaction, solution. The idea was to create the problem, get the desired reaction. Everybody freaks out. And then the government comes in with their digital currency, right? The CBDC or whatever it is that they were going to try to transition us into. And I think that's the scene where Trump is betting that, hey, I'm going to get people to move in my direction using real assets like gold and silver to back our money, not this digital nonsense. It's just going to be a digital prison. You vote for Donald Trump, they're going to turn off your money supply overnight.
Yes, of course. I mean, the real source of money is silver and gold, not the paper currency that's supposed to represent the gold and silver, but it doesn't. It's debt and interest. So let me ask you this: if silver, go on. Sorry. Yes.
And I'll just add to it is you need a very strong, robust metals market, precious metals market, in order to transition into something like that. So these pricing, these price increases, what it's doing is it's strengthening the gold and silver markets where, when gold was 1,700 or whatever, as recent as 2 years ago, the market cap on gold was like 10, 15 trillion dollars. Now with gold approaching 5,000, you're probably sitting at a $50 trillion market cap. So now you have a system that's up and running that has the type of wealth and market cap that you would need in order to transition into that system, which is really the big benefit of gold and silver going up. Not just the fact that people that, clients of mine that are holding it that have done phenomenally. It's also just the fact that we have a place to actually go to once the whole system does fall apart.
What do you say to people that say, well, we don't want silver to go up because if silver goes up, things will get very expensive, like TVs and technology and stuff like that, and even probably construction. What do you think about that?
I don't think necessarily you're going to see such crazy price increases. I mean, I see what people are saying, but there's other conductors out there that you could use in place of silver, right? Realistically, silver is. I mean, I was watching a great guy to listen to is Cliff High. And Cliff High really went in depth on silver. I mean, he taught me so much about silver I didn't even know, but he was talking about how, silver has isotopes, right? And when you combine silver isotope 107 and silver isotope 109, you get these electrical properties that even physicists today don't fully understand. That's where this is where, like, and no crazy talk here, this is where we could get into like anti-gravitational craft, right? Yeah. This is probably the technology in the new F-47 fighter jet, right? Is technologies like these. Silver is one of the most unknown. People just think of it as just this, white metal and, we used to be in our money, whatever. There's a lot more to silver that we don't even comprehend. There's magic within silver. So I think silver is a way more important asset to own than pretty much anything out there on planet Earth.
Yes, of course.
So gold's great. Don't get me wrong. Gold's nice. It's efficient, right? You do a big purchase with me, right? We had people doing a couple million at a time recently. Yeah, you're going to get some gold, right? Millions of dollars of silver. You're going to need a bedroom to store that in. But silver, man, it's I don't care what somebody's budget is. Get your hands on the stuff.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Matt, I've met you through Lewis Herms. You're very credible. A lot of people have said to me they're very happy with what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people because what you're doing, and I want to tell the viewers that you're helping people move their 401ks and IRAs and switch that into real digital gold, real assets, gold, not digital, but physical in their hands, where they are free and sovereign to do what they want with it themselves, silver and gold. Because when you keep your fiat currency into the 401ks or your pension or whatever you want to call it, the IRA, or even your bank account or your savings account, the dollar is melting. The dollar is going down and down and down. Yes, the number might be the same, but the value of it is declining massively.
Yeah.
And you're going to need more of those dollars to afford a lifestyle or what you normally get or the basics of the life that you want. And the only way to get out of that and to hedge against that would be gold and silver, because it's constantly going up and it's real money. Okay. We're not here trying to sell anything. We are letting you know, trying to let people know that they need to get out of the fiat currency that's fake money, and have real money in your possession, in your home, in your safe, in your hands. You have to have it. And this is what we're doing with Matt. I've worked with other companies before, but what I don't like about other companies that I've done with before is that they don't allow you to have the physical assets in your hand. And for me, that violates freedom and sovereignty. And this is
100%.
why I'm working with you. Can you explain the process, what they need to do, and what is it exactly that you do, please, Matt?
Yeah. So and thank you for that. I appreciate it. And we do know each other through Lewis, and, anybody out there, Lewis is, fighting his, tail off trying to become governor of California. Herms for the number 4 Cali.com. Even a $5 donation to him would be huge. He's really working hard, and I'll be seeing him soon. I'm doing everything I can with his campaign, trying to raise whatever money I can. But thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we've seen a big uptick in gold and silver prices in the last, couple months, right? Especially really silver, gold over maybe the last year and a half, 2 years. All my clients have benefited from it. Why? Because I'm not taking egregious commissions. Yeah, everybody's got to make money, but we're not going and we're not taking grandma's retirement account and taking half her money or even anything even remotely close to that, which is what most of these gold companies do. It's disgusting. And unfortunately, these gold companies, especially out of Los Angeles, these guys are, they've got a lot of the big patriots that you see going around, so we won't mention names because we don't want to throw those people under the bus. But, these, I wonder if even their sponsors know what these people are charging. I mean, it's disgusting. But yeah, I mean, I do it at a tiny fraction of what these people do it for. So people benefit. Now my clients are sitting here, they've doubled their money. They literally doubled their money and more. But yeah, I do the self-storage IRA. So what that means is that we can put your gold and silver in depository. I think the depositories are fine. Nothing wrong with that. You're compliant, right? Because with IRAs, you have to have a third party holding your gold or your silver. But, if you want to go store your gold or silver locally, right? We can go and we can build the infrastructure for you that allows us to just ship you the gold and silver. And then it's up to you to go bring it to a depository. But we put it in your hands. It actually gets shipped to you. So you actually see, okay, I got my, 1 ounce silver American Eagles. I've got my gold Eagles here. I've got, whatever it is you purchase. You're getting that stuff shipped to you, obviously fully insured, signature required, but you get to actually inspect it. You can actually see it and hold it. And then wherever you decide to do with it from there, that's up to you. Hey, if you want to store yourself, you're really not supposed to. But hey, people do it. I'm certainly, I'm certainly not telling anybody, but the idea is that no one can ever say that, hey, Matt Geiger, Verity Metals never delivered. We always do, and we do it at a great price. We give people great insights on products. I like people to stick with the United States minted coinage, obviously, because if we're going to a constitutionally backed money with gold and silver again, this stuff would plug you right in. And yeah, I'm reachable, so it's like, and I'm one of your audience, right? I was just another person watching your show, watching Lewis's show. I'm just like the audience. I think what really makes it even great for me is that I really enjoy the people that I work with. When your audience calls up, it's like we're soul family. Like we understand each other. It's not like I have to convince them like, hey, there's going to be some problems in the banking system. They're like, no, Matt, I see what you're seeing. What do we got to do? They make the job easy. They make it a lot of fun. So I appreciate your audience.
No, of course, absolutely. I thank you very much. I also want to say that it was just 2 years ago where I was having a conversation with my fiance, and she's got 4 gold coins, and at the time, it was given to her by her boss as a gift, and like a bonus.
Sure.
And each coin was like $2,000, $1,900, and now each coin is $4,500. It's
More than that.
more than doubled in just 2 years. Tell me, where are you going to get that by just holding the same fiat currency in your bank? You're not going to get that. It has
Or
to
to
be
tell
pressure.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't mean, you're right. And that's great. That's good for her. It should tell people that you shouldn't really be chasing returns in this environment, right? You shouldn't be trying to chase, a 10% or 15% stock portfolio return. What you should really be doing is trying to do wealth preservation, because really the reason why gold effectively doubled and more is really because everything else is losing value. It's not that the gold's become so much more value; it's everything else. So if you're making, let's say 10% a year, and gold's doubled, we're really net, you're at negative 50, right? That's really your rate of return. But
Well,
people
yeah.
don't think
Yeah,
people don't really.
they're always as long as they're going to be printing money, the dollar's going to be devaluing, which means that you need more of those dollars to afford the gold, and that's why gold is becoming so expensive. And this is why we need gold. This is why we need silver. But if you're in a dying currency, you're being broke. Even your salary or your pension or whatever you're getting every year, that is still not covering the inflation that you're losing on.
Absolutely. And furthermore, just going back to the topics we talked about before, think about that money printing machine or money printing machines that they found in Congress. We don't even know how much money is being printed. All of it's not even being accounted for. They just have a machine. They could print money. There's no accountability. It's a free for all. We're basically in the Weimar Republic right now. And the only thing holding up the system is faith and confidence. But with more and more exposure, right? That's really what runs our system. When you really get down to the nitty gritty, is it's faith and confidence.
Yeah.
That's what runs the stock market. It's confidence. Once that faith and confidence, once you start seeing more and more of this fraud exposed, which 2026 is going to be the year of exposure of fraud, that faith and confidence is going to be eroded, and eventually people are going to see, everything for what it is, and it's going to be an unbelievable mess. People won't even believe what they're going to find out about their government officials and what these people have been doing to this country. I mean, it's going to be earth shattering.
Absolutely. And it's going to be exciting as well because we want we want the new earth. We want people to thrive. But Matt, thank you very much for everything that you've shared
Thank you.
today. The link is below in the description. So click the link below and speak to Matt. Matt will give you a call. You can understand the process and to become wealthier, to protect your future, to protect your families. Click the link below. It's very important you do this energetically to be free and sovereign from the system. Matt, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. Be safe out there. Don't go to places like Times Square. I'd avoid large crowds, but enjoy. And I hope everybody is happy and healthy. And 2026, here we come.
Absolutely. We'll have a lovely new year as well. And we'll speak again very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks.